Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders on Sunday suggested she is not interested in being vetted as former President Trump's vice presidential pick. In an interview on CBS News' Face the Nation, Sanders said she preferred to stay in her current role. Look, I absolutely love the job I have. I think it's one of the best jobs I could ever ask for, and I am honored to serve as governor. And I hope I get to do it for the next 7 years, Sanders said, suggesting she would not want to leave the job early to run with Trump. Sanders served as Trump's press secretary and has been a consistent backer of the former president, praising his time in office, defending him against criticism. She endorsed Trump's current bid in November 2023. Some in Trump's inner circle have predicted Trump is likely to pick a woman to serve as vice president. Sanders' name has come up as a possibility. Trump more recently has signaled he's already decided whom he would pick, but has so far refrained from providing detail into who they might be. Trump has recently garnered support from many prominent GOP politicians. On Friday, he secured an endorsement from Senator Tim Scott, who suspended his own presidential campaign, which had emphasized message of hope and positivity. Okay, and now they're talking about stupid Tim Scott. So, I know we're used to politicians lying and saying one thing and then doing the other. And I have no doubt in my mind that an extremely ambitious, normal governor would probably be like, oh, yeah, even though I've only been in office for 1 year, I will definitely be this person's vice presidential, candidate or running mate. But I think in Huckabee Sanders' case, she's telling the truth. And the reason I say this is because her loyalty to Trump is probably not as strong as her loyalty to her dad. And I think she wants to follow his footsteps in the sense that, you're governor of Arkansas, you get your 8 year tenure, possibly even longer or whatever. I don't know what I have to remind myself how the term limits are with each state, but you get your 8 years, and she will be reelected in what is that, 2026. It won't even that's not even someone we need to play around with. She's going to get a second term very easily, because it's a red state. But I could totally see her wanting to keep that position for, at a minimum, one full term before trying to run for president. And if Trump is reelected in 2024, then she might possibly, at the earliest, want to run in 2028. But make no mistake about it, she is certainly one of the more ambitious politicians, and one of the more pragmatic ones, because she's kind of following the money in the sense of, she knows this is Trump's time. Nobody has a chance of beating him. Even Haley is, like, I think, slowly starting to realize that as we sit here on the eve of the New Hampshire primary. And she's just waiting it out. She probably is actually loyal to him. I don't dispute that, but I just don't see where it's to her political benefit to be his running mate 1 year into her tenure as governor, because that could end up pissing off the people of her state. We elected you governor, and then we only get you for a year or 2 years. But really, I lean more towards, I said before, I think the person Trump will pick for his VP will probably be Kristi Noem. I think if it's going to be a woman, there's no other woman he could pick where it makes sense. Because a lot of them are like, the ones that get floated around the most are preoccupied with something else. So if he picks Stefanik, for example, she's, then they're going to have to get another third-ranking Republican member of the House, and apparently that's not an easy thing to do. If he picks Carrie Lake, then she's going to have to give up her Arizona Senate bid, which is, I'm not joking, she actually does have a pretty decent chance of winning that. I'm not even trying to be funny. That's like the one time I'll compliment her. If you pick Sanders, then, she only was governor for a year, and then the people of her state could end up getting pissed off and possibly turn on her if she tries to run for president at a later point. Noam is the only one where there's, like, no risk to doing it. She's been governor for a while. People of her state seem cool, even enthusiastic about it. And if he loses this time, she can feasibly run in 2028 as, I am, the future. I was the person he picked as the heir apparent. Sort of like DeSantis, but even more so, where it's like, with DeSantis, he was endorsed by Trump and then ran against him. But in Noam's case, I think she would, in getting picked by Trump, and then if he loses or wins, come back in 2028 and do the whole, I'm the heir apparent. But yeah, this is one of the few times where I believe in a politics. It's just so funny because it's like I love being governor in a state where I have some of the lowest approval ratings ever recorded. I love my tenure as governor. It's like, like it's like being in a burning building, and as everything around you is just on fire, you have Huckabee Sanders. She's like, this is such a great position. God, the people of Arkansas. I find it so funny. We always talk about like having a democracy or a constitutional republic or not all these, but we really have what is an elective monarchy. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that if Sanders' dad wasn't who he was, didn't have the connections that he did, she would have never risen to being Trump's press secretary, let alone governor. But it just shows you that if your last name in America can get you places that you've never even seen or been before, and that's not even like a shot at her. That's just in general, like, out of all these people, the only ones that I have, as far as like when they do the whole pull yourself up by your bootstrap stuff, the only ones that have really made it for themselves. Actually, I'm not going to do that because we'd be here all day. Like just the various politicians that have like gone where they are not through who their dad was, or whether it was in politics or like with Trump where you inherit your wealth from your daddy. I don't know. I just think she's been benefited more so than a lot of other people by who her father was, and that's why I make the comparison that she is to her dad what Mitt Romney was to George Romney, what before he tragically passed away, what Bo was to Joe Biden. These like sons and daughters of some previous politician that ran for president or didn't things didn't go as well as they had hoped, and then their kid was like tasked with trying to make up in that steed. uh and I do think Sanders is being groomed for that role, in the sense of like I think she's one of the people that will most likely be able to say, oh, I'm the new Trump after he's termed out or retired or in bars or whatever, whatever happens to him after 2024. um God, it's imagine like being governor for 1 year. People are like, are you gonna be vice president? Like, damn. The only other person I can think of where they were governor for such a short amount of time, and then there was like all this speculation about their rise and fall, was probably Christie. Uh, because I know after like 2 years they were talking about him running for president. He kept saying, "I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready," and he missed his chance. So, but in Sanders' case, I think she's being smarter than he was, because she sees the writing on the wall with the cult, and she hopes that she can inherit it in a few years.